served one company or been in an employee of one company for over 40 years, but you have not had one job. You haven't even had one career. So you recently celebrated 41 years with IBM. And I just really don't know very many people who can say that. And so my first question for you is, how did you do that?
The only thing I got to say about 41 years is that time flies when you're having fun. So you really need to have fun in your job. You need to find a job that you love. You need to have a skill that you love. You know, when I went to college, I thought I was going to become a chemical engineer like my older brother. I hated it. And so I switched to electrical engineering and I loved it, right? And so fortunately, I've taken that love of electrical engineering and went to IBM, which is a company that I also love. I wouldn't have stayed 41 years with IBM if I didn't love IBM. I bleed blue blood, by the way. Your only limitations are the size of your ideas and the degree of your dedication. So I just kept thinking bigger and bigger and bigger. But you know, an idea is only an idea. You have to really dedicate your energy, your passion towards it. And if you do that, then the sky's the limit. You're only limited by yourself, because I'm a can-do person. And you know, if they put a challenge in front of me, I always wanted to not only overcome it, but bring in new business on top of that. And, you know, people that work for me, I want to inspire them. You know, I want them to be can-do people as well. So I want to have people working for me that challenge me. There's nothing that we can't overcome, that we are can-do people that are willing to, you know, charge that hill and succeed or die trying. I also look for ways to differentiate myself. Here at IBM, we hire really, really good people. And so how do you differentiate yourself with people that are your peers over the years? They're performing extremely well as well. So one of the things that I learned to do was I volunteer for extra assignments, and I differentiated myself in excelling in those assignments. Whenever challenges came across with clients, I always raised my hand and said, you know, I want to be the one to go fix it. Senior leaders at IBM, whenever they would see a challenge, they'd say, oh, we're going to get Armando to go do that one, right? So I became a go-to person. Right? So I'm a can-do person, I'm a go-to person.
What do you think they say about you behind your back?
Here at IBM, I've gained a reputation over the last, 25, 30 years as being Mr. Fix-It. What they think about when they think about me is that they're confident that I'm going to go fix it. Right. They probably think I'm crazy too, but you know, but I think I've demonstrated many times over the years that number one, I'm not crazy, that, you know, I'm the one that charges in when people are running away, and that I'm also somebody that stays very level and calm under pressure. But I deal with clients and a lot. And when you parachute into a situation like that, the clients are not happy, right?
Oh,
they are
exactly.
not happy. They are not happy with IBM. They're ready to fire you. They think, who is this guy coming in the door? And, you know, so you have to listen and you have to take a lot of fire at the beginning, right? But once they've exhausted their energy, and then you start collaborating and start working with them and listening to their problems and jointly finding a solution. And you got to find it quickly, because they're not going to wait forever for you to come up with something. And if you include them in the collaboration process, then they're more willing to work with you, because some of the solution is some of their ideas. I was a young and inexperienced engineer once upon a time, and I caught the eye of mentors who have really helped shape who I am, people that I've emulated, you know, their particular style and made it my own. And then also people that once they started gaining a lot of confidence in me became my biggest advocates. Having them become your biggest advocates is huge. It's huge. You cannot do this on your own.
You know, talk to those mid-career folks. What is it that they should be doing to keep their technical vitality relevant and to keep other critical skill sets? Matt talked about so many different skill sets being critical nowadays. What do you have to say to those folks? How to stay relevant?
One of the things I always go back to is that where I started. And where I started, you know, I went to a fabulous university, Stanford University, have a bachelor's and master's degree in electrical engineering. But my degrees are from 1979 and 1980. Right? And if you think of technology back then compared to now, there is no comparison. It's not even close, right? And so one key, very important element that I've taken to heart throughout my whole career is to continually learn. Whenever new technologies were coming out, I got on top of them and I became relatively expert at them. I gained confidence so that I can speak to not only people that work for me, but also my bosses and also to clients as well about them. You have to go through a continuous learning process, because I will tell you, as good an education as I had, if I had stopped learning in 1980, there's no way you would have me as your keynote speaker today. I was ambitious, right? I wanted to grow to bigger heights in the company. And to do that, you have to grow new skills. You have to be able to client face effectively. You have to get to the point and be concise and clear in your messaging. If we were having this discussion 41 years ago, I probably would have declined because I was too nervous to have any kind of conversation in front of anybody. So, just overcoming that was another skill that I had to learn. I will tell you, I've had some amazing assignments. 2000 Olympics in Sydney, Australia. I've done supercomputers for the National Security Agency. And even before that, I was on the very first laptop for IBM, on the very first personal computer. I've been with one company for 41 years, but I've had 5 careers with IBM. I was in hardware, I was in software, I went into services, then I went into research, then I had a corporate assignment. I'm going up to 6 now. So then I'm in healthcare for IBM.
What do we need to understand about artificial intelligence, please?
This is why we need artificial intelligence in a nutshell. So if you look at just the past 10 years, the data has exploded. And this is where we were back in 2018 when I was first presenting this data. And now this is the far right is where we were last year, right? And in actuality, it's probably even higher than that because of COVID, because people started working from home more, because the healthcare industry is now doing more and more interoperability in order to be able to provide healthcare from home or proactive healthcare or very patient-centric healthcare. When you look at this chart, you see on the upper right-hand corner, it says 44 zettabytes. So what is 44 zettabytes? Well, 44 zettabytes is a 44 with 21 zeros that follow it. I'm using a MacBook Pro it's fully loaded, 1 terabyte disk, which is 1 trillion bytes. And so if you were to take 44 zettabytes and try to get as many laptops of this type, think about every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth and giving them 6 laptops. That's about what we're talking about, the amount of data we're talking about here. It's a lot of data.
This isn't the first time you've told me this, and I still find myself stunned.
But it is stunning. And, and it's only getting bigger. It's only getting bigger. And a lot of stuff has been going on as far as, sensors and devices. People have Fitbits, I have an Apple Watch, and there's other things that are going on as far as sensors and devices that are even more complex than those that are, for patients that require some of these devices. Medical images, those images are just blooming. And then images and multimedia, what is that? That's social media, that's Netflix, that's Hulu, everything is multimedia. And people are just locked into their phones, their laptops. Until just recently, most everything was very highly structured. If you look at where we are now, 80% of it is unstructured. To get insights from that data requires some real natural language processing. And then enterprise data, that is everything else that we're more familiar with, like banking and airlines and financial services. And so why do we need AI? Well, all of that is way too much for one person to handle, for a group of people to handle, for a company to handle without some sort of assistance. So at IBM, we talk about humans plus artificial intelligence equals augmented intelligence. So, what we humans excel at are common sense, imagination, morals. Sometimes you question some of the things that we do, but, that's what we excel at, abstraction, compassion, generalization. Whereas AI, AI never sleeps, right? They run 24/7. So there's natural language, machine learning, pattern identification. Essentially, AI is not replacing humans, it's augmenting their intelligence. And people that are going to succeed are the ones that recognize that and embrace augmented or artificial intelligence so that decision making should become more effective, more efficient, more timely, And, as we well know, better decisions make for better leaders and make for more successful companies and careers. If you lag behind in embracing artificial intelligence and the capabilities that it brings to bear, then you're going to fall behind. And falling behind is not a good thing right now when things are accelerating so quickly.
And we also need the judgment and discernment to know what to do with it.
What we should be concerned about is the moral and the ethics part to this. And, there are regulatory things that the government has done in order to control AI, which, they make sense. But, we at IBM, we take it even further because, as you know, regulatory stuff always lags behind the technology.
You have teed up the next episode. Raise your hand, folks, if you want to hear more from Armando, and I will see if we can get it scheduled.
I'd love to. And, Tracy, you're my good friend, you're my sister, and I'll come back and help you in any way I can.